Hi, Julio here from REBT Oz. This is a series of videos about the application of rational emotive behaviour therapy in early childhood. Today I'm looking specifically at the ABC theory of emotional disturbance. It's the theoretical underpinning of the Go Spaghettio success helper chart that I've been speaking about in previous videos. Here we go. Just a quick revisit of the success helper chart that I've been speaking about, and I've thrown in there a quote from Epictetus: "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The idea behind these videos is to help children understand that thinking, feeling and behaving are all interconnected. If they can learn about this and understand their thinking nature, they have the capacity to manage their emotions and behaviors appropriately. I couldn't help but include a quote from Dr. Ellis himself. People don't just get upset, they contribute to their upsetness. Very important in my mind. Message to get across to children, even at an early age, that when we feel upset about something, it's not just the thing that's causing our upset, it's us also playing a role in that. The ABC theory of emotional disturbance was developed by Ellis in the 1950s. The A part is the activating event, what happens. The B part are my constructed beliefs, my mindset, my habits of thinking, my philosophical outlook. And C are the emotional and behavioral consequences of A. So we have the ABC theory of emotional disturbance, a paradigm that I use daily in my counselling practice with students of all ages. So when we talk about the ABC theory of emotional disturbance, at B we're talking about a constructed philosophy or outlook that is a rational one. It best represents the reality of what's happening around us. So at B we believe that when something happens at A, how I respond to it emotionally and behaviorally is not just A acting on me, it's me acting on me. It's because it's my thinking, my perception, my interpretation of what's happening that relates to how I feel and behave. This is an A plus B equals C philosophy. The idea that I understand, I have that insight, that at B, my thinking about A has something to do with how I feel and behave. Conversely, there's another perspective that Albert Ellis describes as irrational, meaning that at B, we believe subconsciously, probably unaware that we believe this. Nevertheless, it's accepted that when something happens outside of us, someone or something makes us angry, and therefore we choose behaviors that are not our fault. It's the fault of someone else. This is an A equals C philosophy. The idea that how I feel and behave is connected to events outside of myself. It's kind of an external locus of control position. So this is brain bully thinking, brain bully outlook, or success stopper outlook, irrational. If I was to apply this in practice, this is a little small illustration. You may have a child that comes to you dealing with some kind of trauma at school. It might be that someone's called me an idiot or them an idiot. You ask them what's up. Let's say someone's called me an idiot, and you ask about how they might be feeling at that time or felt at that time. And then you ask them, why do you think you felt that way? And they might explain that by saying, I'm no good, I'm unlikable, nobody likes me. So this is what we're dealing with. This would be the initial stages of the counselling interaction, establishing what happened, how did you feel or are feeling about what happened, and what did you do, and what's your thinking, what's your headset. And as counsellor, my job is to help the child understand that, is that a brain bully way of thinking or a brain friend way of thinking? So it's not just the ABC theory of emotional disturbance, it's also D&E. Albert Ellis said D is disputation of irrational beliefs. In that little example before, my job is to pass out or identify the habits of thinking that the child is engaging here, the idea that no one likes them, that they're unlikable, and they can never be happy. And for me, it's to talk with the child about those things that prove that that's not true. So we think of success helper ways of thinking to challenge the brain bully beliefs that aren't true with the evidence before us. And then eventually, after a lot of work, a lot of repetition, a lot of reinforcement and feedback, the child will develop a new way of looking at things, which is called an effective new belief system or way of thinking with a new emotional effect. So that's the ABC theory of emotional disturbance. That's what we're trying to teach our young learners. What's the Have a Go mission? I'll read this, so I'll divert my eyes for a minute. We want to acquaint young learners with the idea that thinking, feeling and behaving are connected, to help children develop unconditional self, other and life acceptance, to prepare them for when they reach the stage of metacognition, the ability to think about their thinking. So these are the tools that equip children with the ability and the knowledge and the insight to manage themselves effectively, emotionally and behaviorally. We want to develop a school-wide culture of emotional, social, behavioral and academic success and well-being. So that's the mission of Have a Go Spaghettio. We want to develop this culture-wide understanding of our thinking nature and learn how to develop the 6 success helper competencies outlined in the Have a Go Spaghettio chart. What are the benefits? Whole school approach to social emotional learning. We develop this whole school approach and we develop a culture as discussed before. There's a common language and conceptual knowledge base, supports the school counsellor in practice and the pastoral care program if you have one of those. As a counsellor, it helps me when I know that the children understand the language and the ideas that the Have a Go Spaghettio Success Helper chart represents. We don't need to rely on standalone programs, of which there are many good ones. We don't want to teach a concept once a fortnight or once a week and then leave it. We want to talk to all of these concepts all of the time in our teaching practice. Improve student capacity. We want children to be better managers of themselves eventually, reinforce those ideas that they've developed that are success helper, but also for those children who are struggling with a success stopper outlook, with an A equals C outlook, where they believe that something or someone makes them feel and act as they do. We want to help them deconstruct those ideas and replace them with more success helper, rational ways of thinking. Children's learning overall will be improved because when you have happy children who are unconditionally self-accepting, they'll take risks, sensible risks in their learning. They won't take failure personally and they'll thrive. And teachers will add to their toolbox of knowledge and experience, and hopefully we'll see that this is a very useful complement to the overall skills and capabilities that all teachers, in my experience, have. So if you want to read more about this, there is an article that I wrote called Mary Makes Sense. It's based on my experience working with early childhood students in the school setting. And I invite you to read that and hopefully comment or respond. Let me know how you're going. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And I'll just finish on another one of Albert Ellis's quotes. Your problem is never the problem is your attitude about the problem. So I'll leave it there and I'll wish you well and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.